Hey guys, and welcome back to the Dokkan Battle Ultimate Beginner's Guide. This is going to be the third installment of the series that I have done so far. In part 1, we covered all of the bare minimum basics of the game and the concepts that you were going to be executing in order to start working on your account. In part 2, we started taking some of those concepts and applying them to farming up free-to-play characters and stuff like that so we could have as many good characters available at our disposal as we could at a certain amount of time. Now, in this video, what we're going to be doing is discussing some of the more advanced, not even advanced, more of the intermediate style of gameplay, when to use items, how to build a team that's specifically built for a stage, stuff like that. It's going to be more of the concepts that you're going to take with you, sort of as the, not finale, because I think we're going to do one more part, but sort of the gameplay mechanics that you're going to need in order to sort of start working on some of the harder content. And in this case, we're going to be doing an Extreme Super Battle Road stage, as that is sort of that can be a difficult event, but it's also not the hardest thing that the game has to offer. So I think it would be a healthy place to explain when to use items, when to do certain things. And I think that all in all, it will be a good stepping stone for us. Now, the next thing that we're going to be talking about in this video will probably be, this will be the first section, and this will be the concept of stone management, how to get as many stones as possible and when to use those stones. So that's going to be one of the integral parts of this video, because that is how the best way to getting a good account in this game is managing your stones properly and using them in places that are appropriate. And then sort of the last concept that I want to talk about in this specific video is going to be the best areas to acquire as many dragon stones as possible, as well as how to link level your characters that you're going to need to get them at their best performance that you can get them to. So if you do find this guide informative and you are excited for this series, don't forget to leave a like. You know, these do have a bit of time and concept and planning that go into them, so I would appreciate your support as, you know, the channel has been continuing to grow. So I will say thank you for all the support recently. We have hit 2,000 subscribers, and that is just crazy to me, considering it felt like we just hit 1,000 a couple weeks ago, which we literally did. So thank you guys so much. Let's go ahead and get into the first concept of today's video, and that is going to be the concept of stone management. As you can see at the top right corner, your boy doesn't have any stones, so he did not use the things that I'm going to tell you in this video properly, but that's because I'm a dummy. Don't be like me. I'm aggressive. I risk it for the biscuit. You should not risk it for the biscuit. So, the concept of stone management. It's the first thing that we're going to talk about. Stone management. What is stone management, right? When we think about it, right? It's responsibly using your stones and summoning in the right places, as well as saving them and not just immediately getting 50 stones and rushing to do a multi like a lot of people, myself included, will do at times. I think preserving your stones and using them in the most valuable way possible is the way to continuing to stay with the game, because when you get characters that are featured on a banner, we want them to be a highest chance possible as there's going to be in order to sort of, you know, get your account going, right? So if we look at the current banners on the game, now I am currently in the process of trying to chase for this LR just because I like Ultimate Gohan as a character and it would be fun to make videos for him. So that's why I'm summoning for this character. But I recommend that you do not summon on this banner, because Gohan is good, this Super Buu is just okay, this Goku is you suck, you're okay, you have niche usage, you suck, you stink, you're okay, you're bad, and that's it. So if you look at this banner right here, if you get a featured unit, there's a pretty good chance you're getting something that is not good. And if we go to this banner, for example, there's a chance that if we get something, it is going to be good. So if we're managing our stones properly and using them responsibly, this banner is going to be the one we want to summon on, because there's going to be Dokkan Festival exclusives, as well as one of the best characters in the game right here, one of the best characters in the game right here, one of the better characters in the game right here, and then a character that works well on the Majin Buu Saga team, or not the Majin Buu Saga, but Majin Buu's team, but he is not on global yet, or he's not on the global version of the banner, so keep that in mind. But, like, just for an example, we go over here. This is a good value for your stones. This is good value for your stones. This is good value for World Tournament. This is going to be a character you use in the end game, so he's very worth it. Character is not that great. This character is very good after his EZA, and that is it. So you can see that these banners have high value, while this one does not. So if you're managing your stones and farming them up in an efficient manner, we'll talk about more about that later, you want to save your stones for events like this, because there are going to be banners where you're going to be able to summon and get more out of them. Now, I know I'm trying to explain this a lot and reiterating it in your head, but I think that's important, because with this game, it is all about using your stone, especially if you're free to play, right? If you're somebody that's going to spend, which I don't recommend, and you're buying out all the sales and doing this, it's a completely different thing. But we're coming from the lens of somebody that is trying to be responsible with the stones and use them as good as possible, and you're not going to, as well as possible, excuse me, and you're not going to be someone who is just, you know, buying hundreds at a time or anything like that. Because free-to-play stones are a resource, and there is not an unlimited amount, so we have to keep that in mind. Now, When it comes to farming stones, I'm going to be doing the cliff notes on this. There will be, amongst many other links in the description or in the pinned comment of this video, I will have a specific guide that breaks down everything for the stones, but we're going to be doing a cliff notes version of that. So, what are the best ways to get stones in this game? Number one, the easiest one, this one's super simple, is quest mode. Now, why is quest mode the best for your stones, you might ask? Now, you can see right here, all of these right here, every single one that we click on these is going to be potentially a stone. So if we go to area 1 and then we press stage 1, this is a new interface, by the way. All of these different difficulties are a stone. So this is 3 stones, this is 3 stones, this is 3 stones. You get the idea, right? As many stages as there are for difficulties, there's going to be 1 stone. So right here, this is 18 stones because there's 3 stages. Right here, there's 5, so there's 15. Right here, there's 8, so there's, 24, and then so on and so forth. So for all these areas, we're going to be getting, tens of stones or whatever, and we're going to be able to do all of these different things. And you can see there's going to be at least 6 parts of these, could be more by the time you watch this video. So that is going to be the easiest way to get stones, because all you have to do, I forgot to mention this for some reason, but all you have to do is clear the hardest difficulty, and it is going to give you credit for clearing all of the stages. So for this one, all we would do is run it on super difficulty, and then we would get 3 stones. So that is the easiest and most streamlined process for getting stones, but you might have done quests and you're saying, Bill, what do I do now? Well, it's a good thing you asked, because now what we're going to do is go over to the story tab, and we're going to play these events, and we're going to get more stones. Starting right here, you go and play all these. It's 10 stages, 2 difficulties, do the math, 20 stones. And you usually get stones for clearing all the stages on a difficulty, so 22. We do this story event, we do that story event, and none of these are going to be challenging if you have a competent team that is going to be able to take down a stage on Z hard, and that is why we do the Ginyu Force team, but that was part of the part 1 of the beginner's guide. So if you're not caught up on the beginner's guide yet of part 1 and you're confused, go watch that video and it will make a lot more sense. Then Super Strike events, all of these different things. Farming up Super Strike characters is a super streamlined process now, because the missions of these are going to give you a ton of stones, as you can see, and you're also going to be getting copies of the characters, more stones, the Extreme Z Awakening medals, Kais, orbs, everything you're going to need to farm up that character is going to be in the missions of Super Strike events. So very easy way to get stones. Then you want to go to the Growth tab, clear all these out, as many as you can. The Pan event's going to be a good way to get character or profile XP, which is the rank in the top left. You can see I'm rank 999 because I've been doing this every day for almost 4 years now, so over 4 years actually. So you can see stuff like that. Now that's going to lead into my next point with stones. The gold mine is the Extreme Z Awakening tab. But what makes this tricky is you are a bit locked out of this, especially if you're a beginning player, because doing all these is going to be tough because these are hard events. But what I recommend you do is you take your best team and you just clear it until you can't anymore. And I think that is going to be a very good way for you to manage stones, because all of these in here individually, I went to stage 78 or 77 because there's a title tied to it, but that's just me being a completionist. When you go to level 30 on a TUR EZA or a character that only goes up to level 120, you're going to be getting 30 stones for all of these. So like every single one of these that I'm scrolling on is 30 stones for getting to stage 30, and if it's a legendary rarity character, you only have to get to level 10. So that's every single one of these that I'm scrolling on, like I said, is 30 stones. So this is going to be a very good way for you to get stones. Another thing you can do is go in here and clear Dokkan events, but here's the money one. This one is one of the easiest ways to get stones in bunches in a very fast time. One of the better ways to farm stones, but the issue with this one is it's finite, right? It's not updated very often. And that is the mode that we like to call Super Boss Rush. So Super Boss Rush is essentially, if I could find it, there's so many events now, man. But Super Boss Rush, and I know this in Japanese, but it's the same thing. Super Boss Rush, we have 19 of these, and I believe it is like almost 35 stones per one of these. So you can see that is going to be a good amount of stones. But if I'm not going to go in, because it would take too much time, what I'll do is I'll go in and then I'll leave. What we're going to do is we just load in with a team. You can see right here, this is an old team. I don't know what this is, but we load in with this team, and you can see right here, it is essentially going to be a bunch of fights. Now, this might look intimidating, but all this is just Dokkan events. So Dokkan events, the free-to-play Ginyu Force team can clear that easily with items and stuff like that, and you'll be good to go. And we do this, we're going to get 30 stones or more, and all you have to do is just play these Dokkan events back to back to back, and that is going to be an easy way for you to get stones. You can see there's 19 of these, so there is a ton of stones. Like I said, if you want a more in-depth breakdown of how many stones that is going to be giving, go ahead and watch the stone farming guide video that I did a while back, but all the concepts in there are still the same. So that is how you sort of work on managing your stones. Do all of these specific events, trying to do as many of these as possible. I think Dokkan events are a super good way to get stones as well, because you're going to be getting 2 stones per one of these with however many stages there are. So the Beast Gohan one, because this is the Superhero Ultimate Gohan event, there's 2 stages, so that's 4 right there, and then so on and so forth. So there we go. That is the concept of stone managing, when to summon. Now, when to summon, you just want to summon on banners that have high value. So I think I tried to explain that as well as I could. But let's go ahead and move on to the next section of this, which is going to be gameplay. Now, gameplay. I'm sure a lot of you have seen specific events in here and you've been confused on like what they do and why they're so difficult. And I'm going to try and explain that and do a stage of a certain Super Battle Road stage to give you an idea of what difficult gameplay in this game looks like and what you can expect moving forward when you get there. So what you're going to be needing for this specific thing is a set of good characters that are going to be, get a lot of usage out of it. So I believe it is stage... Which one is it? I think it's stage 50. This is what is known as Savior's Extreme Super Battle Road. Now, this is one of the hardest stages in the game. What we want to do, funny enough, I need to reverse Dokkan Awaken this Yajirobe. We're going to go into this specific event, and we're going to just play it and apply all the concepts that I talked about with gameplay and stuff like that, with rotations, items, all that fun stuff. We're going to go in here, and we're going to do a stage that's challenging so I can tell you what I need to do and when we need to apply certain things. So, this team is not very good, and Hercule actually has an easy A, but I have not done that at the time of recording this. So what we're going to do, because Super Battle Road allows us to bring 8 items, we are going to do just that. Now, the most important item in this game a lot of the time is going to be a Whis item. What does this do? You can't read it, but what this says is it reduces damage received by 40% for 2 turns. So we're going to bring that. We're going to bring an Icarus item, which brings down damage reduction by 35% for 2 turns. We're going to bring a Princess Snake item, which heals us by 55% and then gives us 30% damage reduction for 1 turn, so it's just that turn. And then we're also going to bring a Ghost Usher item. This one is kind of up to you. I know a lot of people like to use the Nurse Chi-Chi item because it lowers enemy attack and defense by, 70%? 74%. And then a lot of people will also like to use the Android 8 because it's a 50% defensive increase with a 70% heal. But I like to use the Ghost Usher just to get rid of any attacks, so that way we have an easy peasy lemon squeezy sort of setup. And then what we're going to do is bring this Bulma. We're not going to bring Bulma in this case. We're just not going to bring a support memory. Yeah, I don't think we need one. So this is the team we're going to rock with. This team is not the best in the world, but we can make it work. Let me make sure, actually what we can do, we can make this team a little bit better now. We can bring this Gotenks Easy A. We can bring, I have to talk about that too, huh? What you want to do is bring the best possible lineup, and then occasionally you're going to want to bring units that have utility. So in this case, what we're doing is we're working through this Tech Ultimate Gohan. This is one of the best units in the game now, and he's going to be our carry, if you will. And what we're also going to want to do is bring this Yajirobe because he has support and then also dodge chance, which is going to give us a nice little bonus as well. This version of Paikon will be nice because he has utility with dodging as well as key support for everybody. So when he's doing that, when he gets a certain amount of orbs, he's going to be giving key support and all that fun stuff. So this is the team we're going to rock with. Not the best team in the world, but certainly not the worst. So let's go ahead and do that. And we already have a Tech Ultimate Gohan friend, and let's hop in and see how it goes. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind, I get this comment a lot. And people ask me, does the order of the units that you put on the team matter? The only slot that matters when you're doing these types of things is the leader slot. So the unit that you want to be the leader needs to be the first unit you put on the team, but other than that, you don't need to touch anything like that. So keep that in mind. Now, it's all RNG. The only thing I can guarantee you is the friend support. So if you see right here where Yajirobe is, right, this is deemed slot 7, is what we call it. And where Yajirobe is, the friend support will never be in that spot. I don't know why it is like that, but I know it is like that. So, what do we need to do? This situation, I'm just going to analyze what's in front of me. Gohan is not going to be able to get his attack buff because when he takes his first hit, he's going to get attack increase. And what we want to do is give Gohan a type advantage attack on this enemy right here. And then we're just going to grab those orbs to make sure he gets his super attack. Now, Gotenks, we want to target this guy with Demon King Piccolo because he is tech. Now, the problem is I don't trust Gotenks in that slot. So what I'm going to do right here is just get rid of the attacks. And so now I used an Usher. Now we're safe. None of these units are in danger of taking a super and taking more damage than I would like them to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack the tech enemy or the tech enemy right there because we have type advantage. Now Gotenks, this Gotenks in specific, I kind of made a misplay there with the orbs, but it'll all be all good. What I want to do is attempt to get the 11 key with this guy, but as you can see, we're not going to be able to do that. What I'm going to do is go back to the enemy that Ultimate Gohan was attacking, and we're going to do this. So you can see we used an item to get rid of the attacks, and now we're going to be good to go because we're not going to have to worry about taking any extra damage or anything like that. But obviously, now that we've done that, we have to keep in mind we're not going to have access to that item later on because once you use that item twice, it is completely gone. So now we have one more of those Ushers, but I'm doing that to preserve my damage reduction for later on in the fight. So you can see Ultimate Gohan took out that tech enemy with ease, and now he is moving over to Demon King Piccolo, which is going to help give him a little bit more damage for Gotenks with the additional super. So you can see how good that this Gohan is when he is performing, and that is going to help us out a decent bit. So there we go. We got some attack lowering in. He did his thing. Now Gotenks is going to come in, and if we get some crits, it's going to help us out very much as well. So you guys can see with this turn, there we go, and now we're going to get another additional, and now things are starting to work out. What used to be a really bad team that was hard to use is now starting to look a little bit better because we are playing smart and we're using our items in a responsible way, and we're setting our units up in the best position to do things that they can possibly do. So now you can see there's one attack right there in slot 2. There's one enemy left. So what is the safest play right here? What we want to try and do is set up Ultimate Gohan here because he's going to be the safest unit. Now, what we could do is put Hercule in that spot, but why would we not want to use Hercule? If we're analyzing the situation, I'll give you a second. Why would we not want to put Hercule in that spot, right? Here's the key word, color, right? Type disadvantage. That is why we don't want to put Hercule in that spot. Now, the same thing could be said for Pikkon, but the difference is this time it's not going to be type disadvantage. The issue with him is we're going to be relying on a dodge chance. So if he does not get that dodge chance, we're not going to be able to take advantage of his kit, and he could potentially take a lot if that attack is a super. He's not going to take 560,000 from a normal attack, but he could 100% take that from a super attack. So what we're going to do right here is forgo any super with Hercule, and we're just going to grab those orbs right there. We're going to grab these orbs right here, the physical orbs for Ultimate Gohan. I like Ultimate Gohan in that slot because he is just going to be safe, especially after doing supers. A super to him might do like 100,000 or so, but nothing that's going to lose us the fight. And now what I was talking about earlier with Pikkon, if we get 3 orbs of a certain typing, we're going to be able to get key support. So you're going to see right here, we got a little bit of a buff for Gohan with the numbers on the bottom, and then also another buff for Hercule. So now Tech-based Gohan is going to be doing his thing. And you can see we have a lot of damage coming out of Gohan in this way. So boom, we're getting attack lowering right there. We're going to get more attack lowering right here. So any damage that he potentially wants to do back to Ultimate Gohan, we're going to be able to just not really be worried about, right? 3 supers, your day's done, pal. Thanks for coming out. And that is how you want to do it. So now that we've done that, we've managed to avoid using a lot of damage reduction items, and we managed to preserve as many as we could have in that specific situation. So now this is going to be a fight against Mecha Frieza and King Cold, I believe? Yes. So now what we have is a situation in the front here where we're always just going to be putting this Ultimate Gohan in the front because he has the best defense, right, of the group. So you can see he has 229,000, and he also has the guard mechanic, which cuts, damage down a decent bit. We'll probably explain those advanced mechanics in the next video, but that is at least kind of going to be the one idea. So now what I think I want to do is we're going to pop a Whis item right here and preserve the Ghost Usher. So now that we have that, what I want to do is go and target King Cold with this damage. So we're going to grab these right here. We're going to go to Mecha Frieza for this one with Gotenks because we have the type advantage again. And then Yajirobe will just go after Mecha Frieza because he's not there for damage anyway. But now we have the support. You can see Gohan is taking no damage because we popped that Whis item, and we are good to go. So now he's doing 8 million. He's going to do a bunch of supers, and hopefully we do 3 or 4, and we're going to be able to do as much damage as possible as we need to King Cold here and take him out. So what we're going to be really relying on is crit damage, but if not, it's not a big deal. Essentially, what a critical hit is something that's going to ignore the enemy's defensive stat and do more damage. It's going to pierce through whatever, defensive shield they have up, if you will. I think that's a good way to kind of describe it. So boom, Ultimate Gohan did do 4 supers right there, so he was in his bag in this specific case, but it doesn't really matter. Hopefully Gotenks can do his thing, and with that crit, we are going to 1-turn this stage. So you guys can see, the difference, right? What items do. They help out a lot, and it's not as bad as it may seem. Now, a lot of these characters are rainbowed, they're easy 8 and stuff like that, but I hope that this is starting to become a little bit clearer on how you take out difficult content in this game, right? It's intimidating, but if you know what you're doing going into the fight, it's going to be a lot simpler for you to kind of get a grasp of what you want to do. So what did we talk about earlier, right? I wanted to preserve this for this case. So now we can get off on the right foot, use the item right here, and get started as quick as possible. Now that we have that specific scenario that we wanted, let's see, orbs, unfortunately not going to be able to get the 11 key again, but not a big deal. Now that we have things set up the way we want, we can go ahead and go a little more crazy with the items. We can stack up on items, because items, if you use more than one, when you can use more than one at a turn, the effect will stack. So in this case, what we're going to do on the next turn, just to show you, even though we probably won't need to do it, is I'm going to pop 2 of the Icaruses, or the Icari, I guess you could say, and we're going to get double the damage reduction. So it's going to be 70% damage reduction on that turn rather than just 30, right? So when you hear the term in a video, maybe you watch one of my difficult events or content events down the line, and you hear me say we're going to double Weiss right here, that's why. It's because we want to get, instead of we don't think the 40 is enough, so we need to use 2, we need to go up to 80. So that's kind of the idea, right? I hope that makes sense. So here we go. 1.1 right there. We're not really doing much damage. Unfortunately, this Omega is a typing that we don't want, but it's all good. So now what we want to do is, like I said, because this Omega is probably going to hit really damn hard, what we're going to do is we're going to use an Icarus right here, and then I'm going to use a second one, and we're going to do this. So boom, there we go. And now we're going to grab these. We'll grab these right here, and then PyCon again is going to get his support because he's getting 3 typing orbs. So boom, now we have damage reduction, we're good to go. Ultimate Gohan's going to get his attack buff, and we'll be ready to go. So boom, boom, boom. If he wants to dodge, sure. This super is going to do nothing because we have guard, we have 2 damage reduction items. I'd be surprised if this does damage. Yeah, 55%. So there are 55 damage. So nothing there. Obviously good to go. So boom, here we go. And now it's just a matter of getting through it. You can see because this guy is in, it's going to be one of those cases where it's just doing damage is going to be really tricky. But this same effect we have because we're using Ikari items, or well, I'm just going to say Icarus, right? Because we use 2 of these Icarus items, we have this this defensive buff for 2 turns. So we're going to be able to go into the next turn and also do that damage as well, or get that damage reduction as well. So Omega is essentially not going to be able to hurt us for 2 turns. So that is kind of the idea, right? I hope this is all making sense on why difficult gameplay is difficult, because you have to think about a lot of these things going into the fight, but I hope this will at least give you kind of like a handheld sort of idea of what you need to do in certain situations. And this situation is trying to explain to you when you have an enemy that you know is going to hit really hard, how you can kind of work around them, different ways that units have effectiveness, right? If you want me to go over all of these specific effects that, you know, units have at their disposal, I can do that, but for the sake of this beginner's guide, we're not going to do that yet because that is a little bit advanced, and I just want to make sure that like the basics are what are covered in here, and that is why I'm just kind of quickly using the item, not fully explaining literally every aspect of it, but giving you enough to work with, right? So that is kind of the idea that I'm going for. So now I think we probably have 1 or 2 more turns in here because we are mono tech. It's going to be really tough to do damage right here unless Ultimate Gohan does get a crit. So if he does get a crit, we're good to go, but if not, we're going to be here for a little bit. So, you know, you got to bear with me as we go through the growing pains here with this specific fight. But it is what it is. We'll get there eventually. It's a slow grind, right? Rome wasn't built in one day. Gotenks could potentially finish Omega off right here, I think. Just depends on how much he does. But, you know, this was pretty safe. You know, we really never were in a situation where we were going to lose. This isn't always how it's going to be, but at least for a beginner's kind of display of what this game's all about, I feel like this was at least a safe enough showing. So now, unfortunately, and yes, unless Yajirobe does like a super or something like that, oh, he did a crit, and that's going to get us out of here. Perfect. So there we go. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in this beginner's guide, this is going to be something that you're going to be doing a lot of, and you've probably heard of this concept before, but what we're going to be doing now is going through the process of link leveling. Now with link leveling, this is something that's really important in this game because it's going to give you specific buffs to characters. Now if you remember at the beginning of the series, we talked about beginner's guide. In the beginner's guide, we talked about why you need to be doing link leveling and what links are, how they work and stuff like that. But now what I want to do is show you my method for leveling up my links of the characters as quickly as possible. What I like to do is go to area 31, stage 4, put on the boost when I can, and then we're just going to go in here and let it run on auto. But you can see right here, I'm working on characters like this, and what we're trying to do is get all of these up to 10. And it is going to take a while, keep that in mind, but this is going to be the process that we're going to do. 31-4 with a boost on when we can, we're going to put it on auto, and we're going to let it rock. Hopefully we get some link levels in this specific video, or in this specific run, just so I can show you, but that is going to be the process and the finishing up of this beginner's guide for part 3. In the next video of Beginner's Guide Part 4, however many of these I want to do, I think 4 might be the end, but you guys seem to love these videos, so I don't mind putting them out and teaching you everything that I know about the game. It's just tough to do everything in one video without it being a jumbled mess, so I'm trying to keep things focused in this specific instance. So what have we gone over so far? If you've been watching on the same monitor, we talked about the concept of managing your stones, when to use your stones. We went over a difficult gameplay video, so that an installment of like a difficult event and what to do when you're faced with those events, the items to bring, what you need to do in specific scenarios. And then the last thing that we're going to be doing for this part is the link leveling. But like I said, you guys show so much love on these specific videos, so that is why I love to put them out. And if you have been enjoying this specific beginner's guide and this series as a whole, I need you guys to show out with likes, leave comments, all that fun stuff. If you have been enjoying the beginner's guide series, like I said, subscribe if you are new, because, you know, we do all types of Dokkan stuff right here, right? This is a one-stop shop. Everything you need. Speculation, discussions, what if, tier lists, all that fun stuff. We try and make sure that we cover everything. And if you have a request for a video as well, don't forget to leave that down below, because I do read all of my comments. I'm sure most of you that have interacted with me have noticed that. I try and get to everything as quick as I can. Obviously can't get every comment right away, but all that fun stuff. So this is just kind of fun talk while we're letting this link leveling run go. Maybe what I'll do is show you guys how to do an auto clicker, but that's more of an Android thing. I would need to outsource the footage for that, but if you guys are interested in that as well, let me know. So there you have it. That was Beginner's Guide Part 3. This is how you link level, all of that fun stuff. If you want to stay tuned for the member shout out, please do. I would appreciate that greatly. But if not, I appreciate your guys' time, and I wish you the best of luck on your Dokkan journey. This has been Part 3 of the Dokkan Battle Beginner's Guide, and I'll see you guys next time. Alrighty, before we get out of here, I want to give a quick shout out to all of my channel members. You can click the link in the description if you want to join this, but big shout outs to Cal Manning, Saffron Coriander, Big Han, No, Sky Knight, Cheese, Baby Chicken, Rylick, James, Macker, Static, White Tea Steve, Anto, Wet Towelette, Blitz, Wanix, Yoao, Shafted, Ashish, Scar, James, and Raudo. So big shout out to all of my channel members down below. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you did enjoy, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you all in the next one.